You're live. Okay, a late edition, cramming it in instead of waiting for the next day. Not worried if a lot of people don't see it immediately. I figure they'll trickle in since nobody's really watched the last couple videos, but I have to, usually return some of the things. Now, this is a head-to-head. I had to kind of hype the one instead of the other to do more of a, correct unboxing. And so I didn't have, photos of the side-by-sides and all that. I do still have the Stetson in the other room, but I'm not going to compare that with these. Just because, no real reason. I just did that video. But mostly because stylistically it's slightly different. It doesn't have the cattleman crown, that being the main difference. Like this is the MHT that I have that I found once upon a time 8 or 10 years ago or whatever, maybe a little bit more. So it's got more of a contemporary cowboy shape, although not quite the brick shape that's gotten a little maybe more popular. The other one being a pinch front, even more of a pinch than this kind of thing. Yada, yada, yada. But so I wasn't looking for another hat like this because I just got the two from the Cody James brand. So if you're interested, let me go to my playlists. If you go to the headwear playlist or the Western cowboy style wear playlist, I just did a Stetson review 316, another Stetson, the hat's more like this, review 313. And then a couple weeks ago, or actually a month ago, the Cody James 5X and some other things, episode 296, then Justin kind of versus Cody James 294, and then a rundown on felt cowboy hats 293. Now I will be doing a similar video to 293, maybe Sunday, I don't know, pretty soon, where I'll be talking again a little bit more in specifics about some brands, but more generalities than just unboxings or holding the hats, and that kind of thing. That I don't want to go into all that now, but I will touch on a couple things if I can get into my document and remember what I was reading. I did show a straw hat at the beginning of the last Stetson video too that wasn't a felt hat, so you can also see that. That's the Easter egg in that one, where the first 10 minutes is all about a straw hat instead. But yeah, I had tried on some Justin straw hats at Tractor Supply, and my experience with the RESISTOL, I didn't bring it in here, but I've talked about it in videos that I've done before. Again, that last one about the overview, and maybe the old one about the hiking hats and things. That is a RESISTOL hat that I have in the other room that I tried to get the guy to reshape it a little bit, or not reshape it, but just pull the crown so it could fit me better. Because the problem I had with both the Justin and the RESISTOL hats was that they were either too big or too small. If I went to a size 7, it was too small, and the size 7 1/8 is too big. And my hat size, my correct size, is 7 1/8. And after yesterday's Stetson try-on, spoiler alert, I'm prepared for disappointment with these hats. Those Tractor Supply ones were $50, and I didn't buy either size. So there was that. But a guy had complained in my episode 294 video, so I'm covering this now. The one about Justin versus Cody James, kinda. He said, "Dude, slow down. You were all over the place. Just stay on topic about the sizing." Well, no, I'm not only going to talk about sizing when I'm talking about hats. I don't know, I guess he wants less information about the hats overall. I was in a hurry because I was trying to make that video really fast so I could take the hats back to Boot Barn and get rid of them. And people don't seem to like my videos when they're 40 minutes long anyway. I'm lucky if they watch 3 minutes or 5 minutes, apparently. So this will be longer. I don't know how long, 20 minutes maybe, because I'm talking about two different hats. It's not going to be no 8-minute video. Whatever. So I had just rewatched the first 8 minutes of my video that he complained about, and I couldn't see what he was complaining about unless he just has an extremely short attention span, which might be you too, whoever you are. At the time, I was mainly comparing 3 hats, but then kind of a fourth and a fifth. Like I said, obviously, I'm not going to go into all that. There was a third hat here, but I'm not like discussing the specs and all that. I'm just using it as a reference point to show you what I own. But like I said, the Cody James ones are kind of the same as this, but brown. I just didn't want to bother getting them out of the boxes and all that. So I'll talk about this kind of thing again more in the video that I do, Sunday or whatever. But the X value varies from brand to brand. So the value for price is confusing already, and the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. For brand loyalty only, maybe in a lot of these cases, like I don't know what this X rating is. Or I'm sorry, I do. Sorry, this one is called 3X, but I don't know what it is compared to the other brands. Like I said, compared to the Cody James, I would say this was close to a Cody James 4 or 5 maybe ish, that kind of thing. But what these ones are, that one calls it itself a 6X. Is it the exact same 6 as the Stetson? I don't know. Other people, like I said, I'm not doing a head-to-head between the Resistol and the Stetson, but this one, Serratelli, also calls itself a 6X, and I forget what model it is, but there was only like one in this color, so I had to order the wrong size and hope for the best, because again, this MHT is too small. It is a size 7. It is listed as a 56, which should not fit me at all, but again, fits me almost perfectly. Fits me way better than some of the other hats that I have that didn't cost $40 and drive me insane, because for the money you pay for some of these things, you'd think they would fit and not have to go to Boot Barn and hope the guy can stretch it to make it fit, without damaging the thing too much. So yeah, you want to blame me for the fact that their sizing is wrong and less expensive hats seem to mostly run big. Okay, I might take that back. I think some of these brands just run big. Don't quote me on that, but some of these things, again, this runs big, but the Stetson ran small. So I can't say that as a blanket statement as much as I would like. Like I said, I'll get into that a little bit more in a different video. And so I will leave that there. Like I said, there's more. And I left that as a comment if you want to read it. If you go there and see his comment, you can read more. Maybe if I wrote more, I forget if I typed all of it to him. Maybe I didn't, but anyway, like I said, that'll be for another time. So getting right into it, doing the head-to-head. Now I can't show the whole box, but this Boot Barn box got a little bit damaged. I did already open it, and of course, I don't want to show the top because it still has my mailing label on there and all that. But I can show the inside of the thing. So you can see it is a hat in a box. I don't know why people expect there to be some mystery in unboxings, as if you're getting. I mean, if they sent me the completely wrong product, I would surely let you know. But that's it. That's the big mystery. That's what's in the box. And the packing list just fell on the floor. Expect me. And this is the other box, which is super dusty. I didn't notice that at first, but when I tried to take my photo, maybe that was adding some of the glare. So I guess this hat should have been discounted, but it wasn't. They were both full price. And I forget which came from where. One came from Vegas and one came from Wichita. But so here's the cool cowboy guy, whoops, man from Snowy River kind of thing, going down the hill in a blaze of glory or whatever. And here's your rodeo tradition kind of thing. They are big for rodeo sponsor kind of hats and stuff. And all that, which of course I did not know too much history or anything about the companies. Like I said, the only Resistol hat I've had for years is the straw one, but made in USA, we like that, blah, blah, blah. But when I was searching, the reason I bought the Stetson hat was I wanted something kind of less generic. And that one, the color isn't quite what I had hoped. The sizing is not at all what I had hoped. It's close, but no cigar. But so these were, I was looking in sort of that color again, because like I said, I already have the Cody James in two different kind of more chocolate colors. So these ones are a little bit more mocha. I don't know what the actual color is called. Not gonna worry about it. So it came with a little bit of this stuff. Sorry for the squeaky chair, but if I'm moving around a bunch. So here we got the Serratelli, also made in USA. The band that matches the felt. Again, claiming to be a 6X. What they consider a 6X, I don't know. A little bit of kind of pretty inlay for the lining with the paisley. There's your made in USA tag and the size 7. So again, cattleman crowns are kind of generic, but the color's pretty close to what I wanted, and I wanted to compare the two hats because they were like the only two. This one way more of a shovel front though than I would usually go for. So what happened was in the photos, this hat, the picture, I guess, I don't know if it looked as good. I forget which one was kind of which, but one of them, the dimensions didn't seem to match the photo. Like it seemed like the crown should be higher, or it seemed like they were the opposite photo of what was listed. I was kind of confused. And again, I don't remember what the model of this was. I don't think it was the Peco, but this one says 300 and the Peco says 300. So maybe it's the Peco. Maybe they've restocked it, or maybe since I ordered it. So there's that. What do I have in my cart? Resistol 5-star, so that would be a lower cost hat. That's not the same hat. Not sure. Sorry. Anyway, so yeah, moment of truth. Too small doesn't fit, right? Like I said, I kind of knew that. I kind of knew that it was going right back when I ordered it. But so like I said, I'm not doing a straight. So you could pull it down. Now, in another video, a guy was saying how a lot of times the 6X wool will kind of conform. Again, this is a 7 from this company. You just saw me wearing it. MHT size 7. No issues, no complaints. Size 7 Serratelli. I'm going to have to call it not my size. Now, again, this should not be my size. My size should be 7 1/8, but this was not available in 7 1/8. Maybe it'll still be available, but again, I don't care for this shovel front, but you can always get that modified with the guy. And the cattleman crease, well, I'm not really comparing it to the MHT, like I said, not literally, but just to show you that they're not exactly creased the same, but similar. Okay, so But so the stiffness of the thing, you know, like, you know, I don't want to abuse it too much because, like I said, it doesn't fit. So I do have to return it. I can't just do what I might do with it if it was a hat that was in the store and I didn't, you know, purchase it already to get it here from wherever. But overall, the felt is not as stiff, not as much like a helmet as the Cody James 5X. Now, I guess there was a couple different things with the Cody James. Maybe that one was discounted because it was the alternate model that weren't the premium ones or something. I don't know. Doesn't matter. I got it for 120 bucks or whatever. It'll do what it does, and it fit. That's correct. Oops. Nothing wants to cooperate. So the RESISTOL, okay, coming right to it, a very similar color, but not the exact same color. Oh, I didn't show the inside of the box. Sorry. Inside of the box. Now the hat fell on the floor. We're going to pick it up a bit. I shouldn't hurt it too much, except for the little guy fell off. Okay. So again, with this foam stuff, get back in here. So George Strait on the floor when the hat fell down. Sorry about that, George. Couldn't be helped. Or maybe could have if I was a little more, had a little bit more wiggle room in here. So this is not the color that I was necessarily browsing for. Like I said, if you want, go back and watch that Stetson video from yesterday or whatever, you'll see that the lighting in here is terrible though. So I apologize that it's not, you're not seeing the true color on the screen that really represents how it looks. This is a darker, richer brown, slightly richer, but not quite chocolate. It's still kind of faded. This is a lighter, warmer brown. This is a little bit cooler. This is a little bit warmer. I don't know if I get back farther. Does that help? Yeah, a smidge. The problem is everything is in reverse on camera. So let me switch hands so that I'm talking about the correct hat. Okay, so the RESISTOL hat, again, these dimensions and the shape of the thing and everything was closer to what I kind of wanted. But again, only had a size 7 and all that and the other issue. So I had to order both of them in the wrong size. And let me go ahead and show you the inside. So here we just have a generic black lining. Here we see there's a whole bunch of writing. RESISTOL, self-conforming 6X, pure fur felt, made in Texas, USA. Then it says George Strait. It's got the signature on there. It looks like somebody wore this one a bit before it got to me. I didn't wear it enough to do any of this kind of damage. Yeah, that's not from me. You just saw me take it out of the box, but I didn't like go rodeoing it yesterday or anything. Santa Clara, that's the line of the, because they have their buffalo wool and then they have this and that wool. So yeah, not quite as stiff as the previous brand. I mean, I'm noticing that right immediately. But this one is a bit stiffer. This one is more pliable. And of course the nice hat band. And of course it says, well, I don't know if it says anything, but it has a little bit of a, not, instead of a buckle, it's got their logo or whatever that's going on there. Little squirrely design instead of the buckle. I kind of get bored of the buckle, so that's another feature that kind of drew me in. Overall, I did love the shape of it. I think it's a good shape. I think it's a pretty good color. I'm kind of torn between whether I like the warmer or the cooler, because most of my stuff would be the warmer, or hats wise anyway. Whereas my clothes might do better with the. Again, this light sucks for hats. Apparently, I didn't realize how terrible it truly is until about a week ago or a couple days ago. Yeah, this is just not working. Right. If I shade the light, it doesn't help at all. Oh, there we go. Yeah, see, now you can see how dark it actually kind of is. I don't know why that works, but it's a little bit lighter than that. That's a little bit more shadowy than. It's still not reading correctly. But again, just way too small. But, you know, a lovely hat that somebody else will get to own. Because, again, I'm not the one who paraded around in it previously, because there's no way I could wear it that much to enjoy it, even as a casual customer, you know, who bought it, took it to a rodeo or a concert or something for the weekend, and then returned the stinking thing. Wasn't me, because that's just too small. I don't know what they say about self-fitting or whatever, but it's just not the right size. I don't think I can squeeze that over my head and live with it. So I don't know what, you know, self-conforming means again, but that's what it says. But yeah, definitely running more true to size than the Stetson, just too small. So what to say about that? I don't know. Well, we're at 20 minutes, but that's my verdict overall. Like I said, the color I could go either way. The stiffness, the shape, like I said, you could modify the shape slightly. The crown height, you know, again, I liked the lower crown idea, even though this one had the somehow. I think this is just a bigger hat overall, the bigger brim and everything. And I do like a more brim for coverage. But these are not ones that I was going to try and turn into drover hats and flatten out the brim, because obviously, well, this one you could more easily and feel less guilty about it. So if I stack them on top of each other, you can see there's a bit more coverage in the back with the Serratelli. And again, if you flattened it out, you'd have a lot more brim to work with if you really, really wanted to. But you can still get an Akubra for less, so I don't know why you'd necessarily want to do that if you just wanted the widest, flattest brim ever. It might be a little bit wider than the Akubra, but not enough to pay over $50 more or whatever it was. Again, the Peco, I don't know if that's the same one. Product details. 6X quality, fur felt, 4 3/8 crown, 4 1/4 brim. See, that doesn't sound right for the crown. I'm positive this crown, sorry, the one I'm wearing, is taller than that. I think this is a 4 5/8. But somewhere in there, it said a 4-inch brim I thought for one of them, and that's clearly not accurate for either of them. So maybe I'm remembering wrong. Leather sweatband, 3-piece self hat band buckle set, dark brown, which of course, this is technically dark brown, but it's the lighter of the browns from what I would expect from a more chocolate. Cattleman crease, curved brim. Yeah, see, curved. This is more of a not really curved. I think that's a different hat that is a little more generic, maybe a little closer to this, that I would, like I said, kind of prefer to the shovel shape. But again, if I wanted a massive head cover, I guess this would be fine for the price. But again, I could get an Akubra that would not necessarily be the exact same fur felt, but a 6X, I don't think we're getting any beaver in there. So that is what it says there. Creased pinch front crown. Okay, so this is not a pinch front. That's just incorrect. Boot Barn has the wrong information here, or they cut and pasted from the wrong hat. Serratelli Peco hat stands as a symbol of rugged elegance and Western tradition. Crafted with precision and designed for the true cowboy, this hat is an essential addition to any Western wardrobe. 6X rating ensures durability and luxurious feel, making it a perfect choice for daily wear or special occasions. I don't know the feel is any more luxurious. I guess a little bit more than that old one that I got for like $70 from Western Express, which is kind of like I was saying, it would be my default autumn hat before I even ordered these. But I thought if I liked one of these enough, I might keep it. Again, knowing that I'm buying the wrong size and potentially not, again, not being able to save them. And of course, again, they are the wrong size. I know I'm still reading but I don't want to get too sweaty in either hat. This one's already got kind of a messed up band, so I'm less worried about returning it in that condition. A perfect choice for daily wear or special occasions. I would say more special occasions than daily wear. Some people will say a 6X hat is perfectly fine. Extra money, and you think it's going to be more durable. I don't know that that's exactly true in this price range, because again, you can get, I would say, a durable Cody James one for $200. But then it'll be heavier weight and that kind of thing. And a Stetson one, the other one that, like I said, I was just looking at that was in the $200 range also, that I didn't get because I already had gotten the Cody James one, might be more durable than the Cody James one. I don't know. Or at least lighter weight. Offers practical wide brim offers practical sun protection and embodies the bold spirit of the West. Leather sweatband enhances comfort and fit, making it easier to wear the hat for extended periods. Self-felt hat band features a subtle, stylish accent that maintains the hat's cohesive design while adding a touch of sophistication. Again, I think it's lazier than the leather. It's just become kind of bog standard, kind of generic. Stetson does it too, or but that's a hat band that I usually look at it and think I might replace that. But they're saying that's the feature. Sturdy construction designed to withstand the elements of the Western lifestyle, from ranch work to rodeo arenas. So there you go. So that's what Boot Barn has to say about Resistol, or Resistol has to say that Boot Barn cut it and pasted it. So the Resistol, the 5-star, that's the wrong one. We need the George Strait one. Can I find it? How quickly can he find the George Strait one to read what Boot Barn said? George Strait hats. There you go. Okay, that was easy. Those are the straw ones. Logan. So Logan, that's going to be different than the Santa Clara or whatever. There's also Oxbow, City Limits. So there's a whole bunch. Well, here's the one that I ordered. Which, yeah, again, still available in size 7 only. $379. So this hat did cost $80 more than this hat. But again, I liked the shape and everything more, so I was hoping it was going to work out. The shorter crown, the less wide brim that, again, usually I would be all in favor of, but in terms of more fashion-y hats, I'm kind of like, eh. Until the product details here. The George Strait by Resistol Santa Clara 6X felt cowboy hat brings George Strait's unique blend of classic style and Western ruggedness into an everyday essential, crafted for those who value authenticity and superior craftsmanship. Like I said, it's not quite as necessarily rugged for more money. So yeah, again, a little bit more of a showy hat than a work hat, maybe. But if you're just going to get one hat and you have $400, then I guess you can work in it all you want. 6X fur felt construction made from high quality. This cowboy hat ensures excellent durability and a touch of classic Western style. Cattleman crown featuring a traditional cattleman crown to provide a distinctive shape that stands up to rugged use and maintains its form elegantly. Decorative hat band includes intricate details and a touch of elegant design, reflecting George Strait's refined taste and attention to detail. Like I said, I do like the hat. I do like the band. I don't like the size, or the size I could get in this color. Because, yeah, that's also available like in black and some different whites and whatnot. But I wanted a color that I don't already have 3 times over. And especially didn't need another black one that I never will ever wear. So obviously everybody bought up this color for a reason because they all felt the same way. Although I imagine I could go to the RESISTOL site and maybe find one. Where was I? Leather sweatband equipped with that ensures comfort and absorbs moisture, making it perfect for all-day wear. RESISTOL branding, trusted RESISTOL quality guarantees a product that stands the test of time, delivering both style and functionality. Wide brim. The wide brim offers protection from the sun and elements, making it a practical choice for outdoor adventures and everyday use. Like I said, I don't know if Boot Barn wrote that or RESISTOL did. Whether you're out working the ranch or heading into town, the George Strait by RESISTOL Santa Clara 6X fur felt cowboy hat is a staple of Western wear that suits any occasion. Made in the USA with globally sourced materials, so China, I don't know, or Spain. Cattleman crease crown style, a 4 5/8 crown. That's what I'm saying. This crown I don't think is 4 5/8 and 4-inch brim, but the 4-inch brim rings true. Was that one was saying what 4 3/8 or something, and then a 4 1/4 brim or whatever. Diamond engraved leather hat band. Felt construction, and there you go. So that's what we know. And again, if it just a little, it's almost there. I can wear it, and if I wore it more, maybe I would say it's close to correct, but it's just not right. I'm really, really just wishing that it was so, because again, this is more correct. This is not pinching. I'm not worried about it shrinking over the summer, all that kind of thing. So what can you do? Yeah, I don't know. I'm tempted to see what's, available always, but it is expensive. It definitely costs, a lot more than the other one. And like I said, it's a kind of similar to things I already have, just a slightly different shade. And again, the reason I ordered the Stetson in the pinch front was to get something that I didn't already have 3 or 4 of. But I did bash that other Cody James to be more of a flat top to look more like a Clint hat. So in the head-to-head challenge, which one is the true clear winner? Again, if you're willing to, reshape the brim or whatever, you'll save money with this one, and it's probably a little bit more durable. If you want something that's just really attractive, and hopefully fits, this one's still available in some other colors, more than this color, at least at Boot Barn. Am I going to turn around and go to the RESISTOL site and order this? Probably not, because it's expensive. And, like I said, I just got a couple others that are really kind of similar, and in theory anyway, even if they're not the exact same quality of fur and all that. It's just a nice hat. No complaints. I'm not, like I said, it's a soft fur. I imagine, for tactile experience when they're talking about all this elegance and whatnot, that's a factor. But most of the time I'm wearing the hat on the head and I'm not feeling the felt at all. Like this felt I can feel, yeah, it's more rough. It's also a 3X, or what they, this company calls a 3X. But again, and this one was $40 and it fits. So I can't really argue with that. Whereas that one's expensive and it doesn't quite fit, and mashing it on my head all I want will never make it the right size. Or the price that I necessarily want to spend for the value for what I would, be using it for. Like you said, your use case would vary, but I don't think I would recommend it as a work hat, as they claim. So we don't have, like a clear winner of the two. It's partly aesthetics and it's partly cost, as always. And the felt on this one, it's similar enough. It's not as soft in the finishing. I think Resistol did a little bit better job on the felt, but they're also charging you more for it. So again, is this a terrible feeling felt and a terrible value for $300? No, I'd say, like I said, if you're more into the budget of the thing and less into, the hat bands and the crown shapes and all that, and you just want a hat, that will serve multiple duties, I probably would go with this one. And again, if this fit, I might be tempted to keep this one. But since neither of them fits, you won't be seeing me sporting these in autumn. And I don't know yet about the Stetson one. I might just return that one as well and worry about it in September, because trying to buy hats for autumn in March is not my typical, well, now it's April, but you know what I mean? Not my typical method of doing things. But at the time, like I said, I was already researching other things, and I really liked the look of that George Strait one. But then, like I said, when I saw that they didn't have the size that I was pretty sure was my correct size, and I would be concerned that 7 1/8 might still be too small with at least a couple of them, especially the Stetson. I'm tempted to even try a 7 1/4 with them more than that one. I think that one would mush to my head. You saw me, I was wearing it. It was fine, kind of. I think that one would mush to my head the easiest of the three. So there's that for what it's worth. Okay, so yeah, I'm pushing it. I'm talking way too long. Nobody's going to watch all 40 minutes of this. But as always, if you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'll try and answer them as best as I can. And like I said, that other next video will cover more stuff that I'm leaving out here and might go on and on and on forever. Nobody will watch it, whatever. I did activate the buy me a coffee thing, or pizza, as it was supposed to say in the joke, and never comes up as pizza for some reason. They said you could change it, and so I did, and then nobody's bought me a pizza yet anyway, or a coffee for that matter. And then of course the boycott Tinder. I just did another long three videos of that in a row now, of toxic employee culture. That kind of dating app is a match for you. I can't prove consumer fraud. I'm not a class action lawyer, but as an end use consumer, I don't endorse that. I hope you will save your money, or if you're just using it for a hookup app, then whatever. But if you're actually looking for real romance and lasting love, the people who are employed there don't seem to have your best interests at heart. They seem to be lining their pockets. And the company itself, again, I'm not a class action lawyer. I can't prove anything. I don't know. But, get in touch with them, ask them these questions, find out why they employ people who arguably hate men and arguably, date for the wrong reasons, or don't date at all, or whatever. Yep. And preserve your Western ways and heritage and all that, and cowboy up and yada, 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 and whatever, all those catchphrases that other video guys throw in there that I can't be bothered to remember them all when I'm babbling on and on about, yep, feels pretty good to me. Yep, feels pretty bad to me. Yep, feels okay to me. I mean, like I said, these companies are they're all competitively priced. They know what they're putting out. The Resistol had Again, I'll get way more into this into the other and in the weeds, but they had some that were like nutria instead of beaver and that kind of thing. So you can look into that if you're still watching this, which I doubt. You know, you can research them more deeply than I can do in a video that, again, I'm lucky if anybody watches 8 minutes of this. So just leaving it there, signing off.